to Los Angeles, California, in the USA. It's been 4 years since Lee Seo-joon started living with them. He's 58 months old. Auntie Nara Kim reminded him they were going for a shoot that day. Walking down the stairs, he met Eric, who asked him honestly about his zombie bag. He told Jun that he needed to talk with Hee-sang about it, as his son would make a fuss as soon as he saw it. In the car, Auntie Nara told Mrs. Hee-sang that it seemed her doll was as famous as always, while she responded that after quitting the company, it would be weird if it were not popular. Meanwhile, my Aunt Nara acknowledged that YouTube was why she left. Since she immigrated here, she has gradual Y updated her vlogs on her channel, Jun, about life in the United States. When the monster doll was first revealed in a vlog, many reacted, saying it was weird. But slowly, more people thought it was incredibly mei, skiing where it was so, and as a result, Hee-sang quit his company and started making and selling doll S. Auntie Nara told her that if she always prompts, she will sell out, as most of the neighborhood's kids were wearing her doll S during the last Halloween. Although they thought that Seo-joon had something that would attract people toward him, he was sure he would use his abilities for doll S. Still, he was sure the monster doll became famous because his uncle made it well. Mrs. Sang was worried because Seo-joon had never tried acting. She couldn't help it because they just called him recently, which gave her much concern. Mrs. Hee-sang opposed it, but 3 days earlier, Junwoo called and asked if he would participate in a move. When he said yes, Nara sent him the letter. It started when Junnie was utterly engrossed in a documentary on TV, so Nara asked him if he could learn acting, and when he responded positively, she sent his Bay Food ad and channel videos to a child actor casting director. He was asked to come for an audition. So, the shooting was not for a movie but an audition for a movie, and they said they would add the best video shot by the actors in the movie. Hee-san asked if it was possible that Seo-joon might be in the movie, and she was told that it was just to be seen as a new experience, while they were also told at the end that it was a Marine Studios movie. With Mrs. Hee-san concerned, Auntie Nara told her that it's just an extra role that appears for a short time, so she does not need to worry too much. Marine Studios was known for its live-action adaptations of superhero comics and their high quality. It's one of the top 3 movie production companies in the world. Among them is the most popular movie, Reborn. Jun had said that they would go to the shooting site of Reborn 2, and at this time, they got there and got down. Auntie Nara led the way. So many people were there, and among them was Jonathan Will, who welcomed them. He's a staff member, and he took Jun to the waiting room first after confirming. They were there for the audition. He told them other child actors were in the middle of their auditions, so Seo-joon was told to wait in the tent. As expected, they heard the voice of a baby crying, but they waved it off. Jonathan told him that he could change into his costume in the tent, and when they called his name, he just needed to come out while he might not be able to come at the moment. The director called Jonathan, and he had to leave right away. Mrs. He asked if I always liked that when she saw that Jonathan was all over the place, and Auntie Nara responded that it usually is, but there seems to be another issue. They wondered if the sound of the crying baby was from the kid in the audition, so Mr. Hee-san concluded that the scenario was probably a bit scrambled for kids. Seo-joon asked Auntie Nara if Redbone would be there, but she told him no and explained that the place was a filming location for a movie by the same Marine studio, but it was not Redbone. Mrs. Hee-san was concerned that Seo-joon would become alarmed by the crying baby, but he appeared unfazed. She told him that what she wanted to say was secret and then explained that the Redbone 2 film was delayed by an accident, so they plan to produce and release 2 more movies before it, which is why the filming schedule is rushed. At that time, a woman came and told them that she was Mel Issa, playing the role of William's mom, while the man behind him introduced himself as an assistant baron. Seo-joon also gave them his name as a child actor. Mel is bent down to him. She told him she had heard he was the youngest among the young actor applicants, but introducing himself was quite lively to her. She told them they were there because they wanted to get close to Jun before the filming started, as all the kids who filmed before him got scared and started crying. The scene that made all the kids cry was part of the breaking news where alien invaders were said to be creating mysterious wormholes across the planet. Citizens were then advised to stay home, and a kid playing alone in the garden looked at his mother, who rushed out of the house after watching the emergency news. As his mom screams his name, the id holds his bear doll, smiling brightly. At that moment, a terrifying dark wormhole appears behind the kid, and the desperate mother calls out. The kids smile even more brightly at her screams and instantly disappear inside the wormhole with just their shoes left behind. In other words, the issue is about more than just the acting skill S. He will probably do the same, where a woman who is a stranger screams at them loudly while a stranger suddenly picks them up from behind. They told her she must be tired of repeating the same scene, but she responded that they just wanted to keep acting, but the staff was having a hard time. While they asked Seo-joon if he had read the script, he told them his mom had read it before him, so he had practiced. She asked him about Will I-am's character, and he said Will I-am must be happy. This came as a shock to them when they asked him to tell them why he thought so. He told them that Will I-am did not know anything and that he was probably just happy that his mom was calling him. A man appeared in front of Seo-joon, but he was not afraid, which gave the man the sensation that he was pretty brave, so he introduced himself as the movie director, while Ryan. He told Seo-joon that no matter how severe or sad his surroundings seemed, William, as he had said, was clueless about it, so he should not forget that and smile brightly. He wore his costume, which made them conclude that he did not need makeup either. The weather is a bit chill high, but his clothes are thick, and there are hand warmers inside, so Mel Issa assured them he would be fine. While the others went to prepare too, Seo-joon told his aunt and Mrs. Hee-san that what was next was meditation, so he took his slime pill out and made Hee-sang. Mrs. Hee-san told him that he seemed to be sleeping and asked where he got the word meditation from, and he responded that he was indeed meditating and not sleeping and would read Booj in that case. He initiates the summer bear's hibernation at the lowest grade. For the summer bear, who's only active in the heat of summer, fall, winter, and even spring, it's too cold, so he falls into a deep sleep. It falls asleep anywhere. It goes for 30 minutes a day. The recovery rate during sleep slightly increases too. Smiling automatically Y activates it, so I must be careful about the illusion of the smiley face mushroom in junior grade. Smiling at someone casts an illusion spell on the target who sees it. The target will be compassionate to one for a long time. He was a peculiar mushroom in his previous life that smaller Magi used. Because he was tasty and expensive, many people looked for him, but if they entered his territory, he protected himself by showing them an illusion that would induce a pit for him. He planned to start using this power from home, but its effect was way more than expected, so he cancelled his plan, which made him ensure carefulness, and he couldn't smile at any cost after the filming. He believed that the foundation of acting was understanding, and he needed to understand the character's history. It may seem complex, but he was told it's pretty simple. He must understand how the character was raised and developed until that point. However, some characters are challenging to make a lasting impression with, and those are the extras. He pondered what it meant to understand history and how he would do so. His dad drew him back after he moved closer to the TV. The man on TV says that all the clues are within the script, and he needs to analyze the slightest hint to create their history and comprehend it. Mrs. Hee-san was still worried, although everyone told her it would be fine. Sejuni had a grim expression since earlier, too, so she wondered if he was nervous, while Sejun himself was being cautious about smiling. They told the director about his arrival this time, so they decided to start. Confirming the domain of the smiling mushroom, the door Melissa runs out of, the area around director Ryan's seat, and even where some of the staff are. Unlike mushrooms, people only have one face, so he wonders if the range differs depending on their vision. The director told him that he would play with the bear doll at a place and lift his head when Melissa called him. It does not matter if the domain is narrow since they will only shoot his face. Meanwhile, the director wondered how he could have such a wicked gazy. He remembered the instructions given to him about the hunt in the script, and when they started, he sensed the bear doll, his mom, and his smile. He loved the bear doll his dad gave him as a birthday present. He was 4 years old, and his name was William. With the action taking place, breakfast was delicious that day. He hoped the snacks were cookies, as he likes cookies, but even more than cookies, he likes his mom the most. While activating the illusion of the smiley face mushroom, the whole crew made a shocking gaze. He also wondered what was happening. He felt like he was getting emotional. He's disappearing into the wormhole while Melissa continues calling out his name. His whole body is cold, and he can't see anything. As he was wondering where he was, the director cut the scene, and he realized he was back in reality. He was curious when it ended. He needs to remember the acting process. With the kind of face he made, the director asked him if he felt somehow, but he responded that he felt okay as it was for him, making them feel that he was good at it. The director admitted that he had seen the scene several times but still held his breath subconsciously. Melissa seemed to come out of her shell as well, and thanks to that, they didn't have to discard the scene. Meanwhile, Melissa was still sobbing, which made Sejun wonder if she would be okay. They told Sejun that, as expected in acting, getting out of character is challenging and has drawbacks. When the director saw that, he could not understand what he meant. He explained that acting means becoming the character itself. For example, Mel Isa, who original Y had no child but completely forgot who she was, acted as if she had always been William's mother. But the toll she embodied still lingers with her if she is genuinely engrossed. So, it isn't easy to control one's emotions. He also, indeed, became William for a moment. As soon as he heard the cut, he snapped out of it. So, he wondered if his method of acting was different. He asked how he could do method acting, and Jonathan told him that the foundation of all acting is understanding, while Sejun completed the character's history. They talk about movie lovers, which is Jonathan's favorite actor too. Jun tried to smile, but he controlled it himself. At that day's filming, around 30 people watched him, but the illusion of the mushroom smiley face affected only 4 people. Jun wondered if it was because it was a junior grade, or if it was not decisive. He now realizes how extraordinary the highest grade powers were. As his dad watched the video, he commended actress Melissa for her fantastic acting skills. At the same time, Sejun asked about his character jealously, while his mom and dad could not resist complimenting and reminding him of the director's compliment. The movie will be released in April when they return to Korea. Hee-san expressed his heartfelt apology for being unable to be at his son's first filming because of work, so he promised to go to the theater to watch it on the big screen. Mrs. Hee-san told him that they had told them to edit out a lot of scenes. It's possible that the scene Seo-jun shot may not make it at all. But this vexed Seo-jun, who thought of how he tried not to smile throughout the whole day and even when he was acting. Richard Bowen, the Marine Studio vice president, complained about the paparazzi. Still, the director told him they couldn't do anything about it as there would be a massive fuss over the change of Redbone's cast. Redbone's lead actor got into an accident while being chased by the paparazzi. In this situation, the equipment and workforce would all be useless and only cost money. Marine Studios had no choice but to add 2 movies by a newbie director because of the gap in their schedule. The vice president, Bowen, told the director that he did not know about anything else, but the advertising pitch was decided. This time, they decided to start reviewing the rough cut edit of Marine Studios. The director told the vice president that director Sarah Lott cast well, known actors, and their acting assessments are great. Compared to that, director Wall almost always uses unknown actors. The vice president responded that his moves are only short films, but his directing is excellent, and he also has a remarkable eye for talented actors. The director could not resist asking why Shadow Man exists, as he did not even know such a character existed, while Bowen responded that it was because Shadow Man was not famous. Director Bowen was a charismatic vice president who walked the fine line between law and illegality for the company's profit. His crying like a child without his mother on the day of this preview became a famous anecdote. Soon, in April, they will return to Korea and Final Y release Shadow Man. The directors already contacted Seo-jun and his parents about the finalization of his appearance, and he was sure if the illusion of a smiley face and mushroom worked, there was no way they would cut his scene. But he wondered who he would choose as his best hero, between Shadow Man and Greenwing. They were to vote using their movie tickets and offer figures by drawing lots. He could not even think of that, with no expectation that the competition would start with the advertising itself. He told his parents that he needed to go immediately, and if they didn't go quickly to see it quickly, then Greenwing would win. Mrs. Hee-san asked to be sure if Greenwing would win everything, then proceeded that the director of Greenwing won many awards and asked again if Shadow Man was not playing a total game of loss, and with that, she also agreed that they should watch Greenwing. As expected, many people watched Greenwing, so he watched Shadow Man. Seo-jun responded that it was an underdog, which made his mom ask him where he had heard the term. The word underdog is the psychological phenomenon of supporting the underdog in a competition. When Greenwing's screening ends, the audience is amazed by Greenwing. They cannot believe that the world is so slow, as they had thought that time had stopped for something, but getting out might be difficult with the large crowd there. They heard the announcement that Shadow Man's first screening had ended, and the audience was directed to where the tissue was prepared for them at the front. Others wondered why all those coming out were crying. They could not understand what kind of movie it was. Still, inside, Seo-jun was seen crying. In the movie, Shadow Man was caught in the illusion of the smiley face mushroom, so Seo-jun felt sorry for him. His parents were worried that he would hurt himself by crying while wondering how he could even cry while watching himself. And it was at that time that his name began to come up. Young Hwagek, a YouTuber who reviews movies, shows himself in a video for his fans. He finally succeeded in shedding tears while watching Shadow Man. He didn't think he would make it to the 15th time either, but he didn't know how to do it yet. He could not take his eyes off Will.i.am's face when he smiled, or he should say he realized Will.i.am's true acting talent. At that time, the video was filmed at the theater, so he told his viewers that he did some research on who the outstanding child actor was, and it turns out that he's Korean, and on top of that, he's the first baby from the famous baby food ad, and he also appeared in Brown's 48 Hours. Starting with the review by the famous YouTuber, the number of articles and reviews saying they were brought to tears by Shadow Man has increased. Most streamers who watch Shadow Man found it weird to cry after watching the video. The SoCal Ed Shadow Man Ter Challenge, which involved watching a movie for the nth time and proving it, has become a trend in every country where the movie is released. Director Cho Damon recently received a great offer. A production company liked his screenplay and offered him his first feature film. Mystery genre films are rare in Korea, so he wants to make them even more perfect. So, after a month and a half of traveling around the country, he found a town with a great set. The casting manager told the director that it was already the 3rd edition and that he had already eliminated all the applicants again while apologizing. The casting manager further told him that he had figured that he would be tense since that was his first feature film, but they couldn't afford to push the schedule back any further, so he had to decide at that exact moment. The cast manager thought of it. There is a child actor who has been getting a lot of attention lately, and he's pretty famous, so he asked if he would be in their movie, as he was in a Marine Studios movie. The director asked if he remembered the one from Hollywood, which made the cast manager ask him if he had not seen it yet, and in that case, he suggested that they catch it together. As they got to the scene, they were amazed by the number of live people on their phones. Some were on the 10th Challenge, while others were on the 5th Challenge. On top of the many people doing live broadcasts, the director, manager, wondered why most people were bringing tissues in with them. Mac, the main character, can use shadows. One day, while whales deliver pizzas through the shadows, he finds a body necklace, but the moment his hand touches the necklace, a signal shoots up into the sky. In the ancient universe, planet Natra, a report came where some were told that they had detected a traitorous signal from Earth, and the warships were launched immediately while they were ready to execute the traitor. Mac tries to defeat Natra's battleship with all his might and shadow powers, but he cannot save the victims in Natra's wormhole. The screening of Shadow Man was over, and the audience was again directed to the front, where the tissue was. The director also cried this time, making him fail to control himself again. It was just a young kid's smiling face, but strangely heartbreaking. He was sure that all the Hollywood movies would want to cast him, and they also had to cast him, even if they had to beg his family by holding onto their pants. He could remember how young Seo Jun was the last time they filmed the baby food commercial. To his amazement, he has grown so much, but he feels he's a genius. Mrs. Yoon Hee asked if she meant Seo Jun couldn't do the baby food commercial anymore. Kang Sora, the team leader of Elephant Marketing, responded that it was true and they were trying to come up with something. But Elephant was planning on not doing any advertising at all. The advertisement of baby formulas was prohibited under international regulations to prevent its misuse, and because of that, Seo Jun's baby ad also stopped airing. This was why she was there, and she apologized for the inconvenience. Seo Jun was not concerned with all the conversations, as he has been doing the ad for 4 years, so it's not like he does not feel bad. Kang Sora changed the direction of the conversation when she expressed how amazed she was when she saw Seo Jun in a movie, and Mrs. Yoon Hee responded that she had been thinking of sending him to an acting school, which amazed her. She explained that if Seo Jun goes to an acting school after appearing in a marine studio movie, the school will be the best training academy for South Korea's pride. Lee Seo Jun and the school will be proud to have trained someone like him, but she's still thinking about it. She further explained to Kang Sora that since she and her husband don't know much about acting and it's awkward to roleplay for his practice, she thought it would be nice for him to have a friend or teacher to act with. At this time, Kang Sora has a cow, and she excuses herself to pick up the cow. When she returned, she asked Mrs. Yoon Hee if she remembered the director, Choi Damon, for the commercial filming and then informed them that he wanted to see them. Seo Jun asked why all of a sudden, and she replied that he wanted him to take just one look at his movie script. She apologized for bringing up the conversation, while Seo Jun immediately asked if he wanted to see the script. It amazed them. Seo Jun thought that perhaps it was because of the Shadow Man role where he stood still while smiling. Most of the scripts he had received through his uncle Yoon Chan were for roles that needed him to stay still and smile. He was not satisfied with it and had to reject it. But he wondered if the director who acknowledged him in the past would be different. His mom responded that they were okay with it because they usually read all of the scripts offered, which was a relief to team leader Kang Sora, and she gave them the director's contact information. So later on, Seo Jun's mom called the director. It was a mystery movie that Seo Jun could not understand, and his dad explained that it's a genre where the cases are solved in the end or ghosts or superpowers appear in horror movies. Seo Jun happy told his dad that he could play the role of a ghost, while his dad asked if he was a victim in a mystery. He observed that Seo Jun was unsure of what a victim was, so he repeated the definition to him. While his mother was still on Kal Taika, she questioned the director about the part Seo Jun would play and was astounded by the director's response. She told the director that she would call and get back to him. Seo Jun asked what role he was playing, and she told him it was a shaman. She told them it's the role of a child shaman who is an exorcist. Seo Jun asked what a shaman is. He asked without waiting for the first response if he wears clothes like the ones he saw in the printed materials and script. With the yes response from his father, he asked curiously why they wore colorful clothes like that, but his father told him he also did not know about it. He looked at the script again and saw the image of a man dancing, so he asked again if they also danced there, and his dad replied that it was good. Goot is a ritual where a shaman prepares food, sings, dances, and prays to the spirits to grant good or expel lousy luck. He further explained that it's a way to ward off evil spirits that enter a person's body, so it's a dance that makes all the bad things disappear. He asks again how one can become a shaman, and his father explains that a mighty god possesses the shaman's body and lends his power to help the shaman tell fortune. He saw that his dad knew little about it but still found it fun to tease him. A shaman is similar to a plaintiff or a priest. His mom asked him what he thought about the script and if he liked it, and he replied that he liked it. He asked his dad to read the script with him while he memorized the lines. The filming finally started. It's been a long time since Lee Ji-suk, playing the role of Kim Soo-hyun in the movie Evil Spirit, has starred as a lead, so it's been a lot of work. Another character, in his case, responded that that was his first feature in a team, so he asked that he needed a lot of help from Kim Soo-hyun and would be under his care. Park Jae-min, the assistant, responded that having such a good vibe is rare. They all asked when they would meet the child actor, and the assistant director responded that they would meet him at the next shoot. Meanwhile, Lee Ji-suk was curious about what kind of kid he would be. 2 days earlier, her maternal grandmother fell and had to be hospitalized. She felt terrible that she was the only one who could care for her mom, with Yoon Chan too busy. Hee-san thought about leaving but still wondered what would happen to Seo Jun's film shooting, so he concluded that he would have to take a breather. He got a call from Ki-san, who told him he got a factory contract. He told his wife that he had taken care of all the backlog orders for Doll S and would be accessible now. They told him that they had decided that he would be the manager for the shooting. This was the first time the two of them, Uncle and Seo Jun, would go together. When they arrived, he ended up being hurried, but he was also glad for a chance like that. After Ali, he can now do the work he loves, Al thanks to Seo Jun's family's YouTube promotion and their investment in advertising. Compared to that, being a one-day manager is not a big deal. He told Seo Jun that the goblin doll he drew was so famous as raiders were flooding in and they would surely get rich, while he also assured his uncle that he would draw another one next time. They received a warm welcome from assistant director Park Jae-min and his colleague, who inquired about their travels there. Kim Hee-sang also introduces himself as Seo Jun's guardian. The director introduced him to the characters, who were amazed that Lee Seo Jun was the child, and they were all itchy to meet. The director told them that Lee Seo Jun would be playing the role of the child shaman in Evil Spirit. So he urged everyone to take care of him. They were all happy to have him in their midst. Some had watched his movie, Shadow Man, more than 10 times, while others had only watched it 3 times. Lee Seo Jun himself could not believe that everyone there knew him. He finally feels like he's on the road to becoming a star. His parents taught him how to write an autograph, so he asked some people there if they wanted an autograph and showed how the place turned into a mini autograph event. Not just the assistant director, but even Ji-suk is in the queue. Seo Jun called him by name, and he also could not help but ask him if he should write his name in Korean or English. This annoyed Hyung more, as he did not expect him to know how to write English at such a young age. He asked that he write it in English. At that time, the assistant director addressed the people and told them they had to keep Seo Jun's appearance in the movie a secret. Although telling will be great for the movie's promotion, if word gets out, they will face a flurry of reporters, which will cause a delay in their schedule. He told them that they only had a few scenes left to shoot, and he was sure they didn't want to pull an all-nighter, so instead, they all had to keep it a secret while he promised to give them a bonus after the movie is released, which makes them all promise to do whatever it takes to keep it a secret. At night, Hee-sang told Seo Jun that it might be because it's a spooky scene, as the full-scale filming will start after sunset. He also told him that he had heard it while Seo Jun was napping early. Still, the families of the owners of the Hanok there are brilliant, probably famous doctors, judges, and even lawyers, so he wonders if it's because the site is good. Seo Jun asked, "What about the site?" and Hee-san asked if he could see the mountain, which was close to them, as there was a river nearby. He told Seo Jun that the energy that the mountain and river give is coming together in the Hanok and giving power to the people who live there. He further told him that it could be the power to help them make a lot of money or make people who are born intelligent there. Seo Jun could not help but mention that his uncle knew a lot of exciting things, and while they were chit-chatting, it felt like they got there in no time, and at that time, they decided to get ready for the shoot. He wore the shaman cloth, which gave his uncle concern if it wasn't too thin, but he responded that he was okay with it, while those who were in charge of Seo Jun's makeup after winning the rocket paper scissors could not help but express their jealousy. He was told not to talk while he was given makeup. Hyun came in, and his makeup was extraordinary, showing the makeup team's expertise and skill. When they were done rehearsing the walkthrough, the shooting started. Then the Bell Goblin's play with Mr. Kim, low grade, was activated. Once upon a time, there lived a baby goblin born from the bell of a shaman deep in the mountains. The mischievous goblin used to scare the bejesus out of Kim's, who passed through the mountains, by asking himself very big, or turning his yellow energy into pure black. As Kim passed through the place again, he was scared again by the goblin. who asked gently why he wasn't yet used to it. Kim was straightforward to scare, and the Bell Goblin eventually became best friends while the goblin sometimes waited for Kim to come to the mountain. The goblin's ability to see into the future was rare, and that day, the Bell Goblin saw the future, which was Kim's death. Fortunately, he was able to see Kim's future. When Kim got to his side, he seemed to still be sleeping but looked dead, which scared him, but he woke up to make Kim's mind rest. He told him not to be scared, as he had lived longer than him. The goblin eventually left without leaving a trace, which gave Kim a lot of concern. He swore to kick its ass the next time they saw each other. Seo-jun wondered if Mr. Kim lived longer after that. There came the Bell Goblin's game with Mr. Kim. At a low grade, a Bell Goblin's aura emanates from him, and with the power of a shamanic bell, he can, on rare occasions, predict Kim's future. The trigger was Kim playing, and canceling is the end of having fun with Kim. He had worked hard to create the form he wanted. It may exist inside, but its energy escapes somewhat outside. It looks like a human, but it is not one. Soo-hyuk works in an antique shop, and one day, he comes across an expensive-looking jewelry box. He was sure he could sell the box for a reasonable price after cleaning it, and he felt pleased that he got his hands on quite a helpful thing there. The evil spirit clings to Soo-hyun and causes more extraordinary accidents as the days pass. He wondered why oil was on his hands, as he could not understand if that was also what he was doing. Soo-hyuk keeps traveling all over the place to exorcise the evil spirit. Reverend was taken to the hospital, while Soo-hyuk could not understand what was happening. He was given a paper to visit a particular place, and Reverend also prayed that the Lord's protection would be with him. Soo-hyuk struggles through the evil spirit's attempts to stop him and arrives at the veil age written on the paper, and then he knocks on the door of the scene where he will meet the shaman. As expected of Jisuk, he had a wondrous expression. His acting was natural, and it was as if he felt the power of God on the other side of the door, but he wondered why he felt like there was something on the other side of the door as well. When the door opened, Seo-hyuk appeared before him, and Soo-hyuk told him he had heard that a skilled shaman lived there. The young shaman lists his parents as being younger than the present, and his parents were hurt by the hidden being in the man's body. But now is the time. The scene was cut while the play with Mr. Kim was over. Hee-san carried him up when the scene was over. He asked if he was okay, and Seo-jun responded that he was tired. Maybe because he has grown up a lot, it was easier than the Shadow Man filming. So they went to the monitor footage next. When Hee-san got to the door, he was amazed and asked Seo-jun how he could open the stiff door. He responded that it was not stiff as it opened quickly for him.